Hey everybody. Earlier this morning, my shower moment was, gosh, I gotta hurry up and record all of these Architects Want More series videos because my mind and my attitude change often, or they have in the past, in the recent past, maybe the second half of my life. So, so I think that I need to hurry up and record all these while I have the enthusiasm, while I'm in the certain frame of mind, because this certain Davin that you're looking at, come on. You just making it to where it's harder for me to take a left turn because you just want to sit in a light or a stop sign. So I realize that railroad tracks. I realize that I might be relatable more now than later. So I ought to get as much out there as I can. And yeah, that just goes everywhere. You need to do all that you can, while you can, with what you can. That was presented to me in Houston one time by an Indian coworker of mine. He said that he just read something about this young kid, I forgot if it was male or female, that was on its deathbed from some sort of a disease. And the kid was like 4 or 5 or 6. The kid said, do all that you can with what you have, with all the time that you have. So anyway, the thing I want to talk about today is coffee and caffeine. If you don't get to know coffee and caffeine and your possible dependency on them, they could destroy your life. Coffee culture, it's sort of something that goes hand in hand with corporate work. And what I'm saying is, if you don't recognize your own body and what stimulates it, and that you only have so much, there's only so much that your body can do. Well, then you start asking more of it whenever it is that you have coffee, and unquestionably more. And so like maybe you start drinking coffee all throughout your day, your body is going to be destroyed, and then it's going to try to go to sleep and catch up on making its reserves of energy and stuff. I'm not going to go into the specifics, but it's going to try to combat your lack of understanding for your own body, and you're really going to hinder yourself. Later on in life, things are going to come back up. They're going to rise back up, and most likely you'll go to a doctor, and most likely you'll get a pharmaceutical pill. And that's the start of you feeling trapped in a healthcare system. So your healthcare costs so much money, and you pay for it via your job, but you want to switch jobs. You don't like your job. You want to experience more in this world. you want the freedom of not taking the pharmaceutical. Whatever the case, you're stuck with that job, you're stuck with that lifestyle. You need to somehow know your body better than to get into that situation. I was stuck in a little bit of a pharmaceutical situation, and that's one of the things that woke me up to many other things. But I've been woke in many areas for a while, and it was prior to having this pharmaceutical need. I think I'm already where I need to be. This is the next town over, and it's so quick to get here because there's so much growth going on. Yes, this is the place. The place where there's a road with two names. One place it's one name, another place it's another name. So have you ever just created a Facebook page for some creation that you would love to exist? I did. And then a joint comes into town, or the town right next to me, and they have quite a similar name. It's right over here. And so that's the reason why I had so many hits on that page that went silent recently, is because they were researching the name and they ran across my page. It has something to do with night owls. Night owl, morning owl, dark owl, I don't know. Caffeine. You might go to tea for caffeine. You might go to mate. You might there's new packaged cold brew coffee that's, I'm sure it's awesome. Excuse me. Didn't come out the first time. You might find yourself with Red Bulls and other energy drinks prior to coffee, because coffee is kind of it's built into a lot of our culture, sadly. Probably starting with just Folgers just 2 generations ago, but it's pretty much here to stay, because there's no immediate downsides to it. But I dare to say that a lot of people are just dehydrating their body like crazy, and their muscles just don't have what they need, and maybe their blood system, their blood is, it might be a little messed up. And so they kind of use it as a crutch. See, I spoke of mate. I drink green tea right now. I'm up for pretty much any tea. So how did I get caught on coffee? Or, yeah, how did I get wrapped up into it? It has its plus sides. Because of coffee culture, everybody kind of wants to talk to each other. Maybe it is that they kind of hide their deepest secrets, but in my opinion, people can create business ideas inside of a coffee shop, business connections, but actually not more than any other place. Okay, so it's a good place around coffee. It's a good place to interject your ideas, what it is that you can do for others. And it's a really good place to meet people. You might want to ask them what time they wake up, because you might be having coffee at 9 o'clock and think that that this is the first time that this other person across from you is having coffee. However, they woke up at 5 o'clock and they had their coffee already, and this is just them sipping to continue their caffeine high. My godfather, he's having some troubles, but he's managing them. And I said, and sleep problems is a part of it. My mother's having sleep problems for some reason right now as well. And I said to my godfather, hey, possibly you need to get caffeine. This outside influence upon your body needs to be negated so that your body can correct itself. And he told me, no, I'm never giving it up. And I'm just like, you have sleep problems, but you don't care to do investigations far enough just to kick a morning drink out. And he's like, yeah. And I didn't say it to him in that way. And he's like, yeah, if I don't have coffee when I wake up, my brain doesn't start activating. That's kind of scary. If I ever said that about anything, that would be pretty freaking scary. Because here we are with this awesome vehicle to operate in this realm. And you get it. Okay, so how did I get exposed to coffee? So whenever I was in architecture school, some of my friends were in the workforce, and some of them were in school, and then they were also in the workforce paying for some of their school / really it was their play money, and their school went to debt. But so I had this one certain friend who was working at Starbucks, and I'll back up. I didn't do coffee for a while. And in college, actually, I dibble-dabbled just the slightest bit. Somebody brought a coffee maker, a very small one, into the studio, and we were all allowed to use it. And so I dibble-dabbled a little bit with coffee then, and I saw my other classmates falling into it. I had the luxury of Red Bull energy drinks, and so I kept some of those in my earlier years of school. I kept some of those in my refrigerator in the dormitory, and so I would chug one of those before a test and then go take the test. I don't think that had much mal-effect, even though Red Bull is not healthy for you, in ways that I can't say right now. Then your schools have contracts with, like, say, Coca-Cola, so they can't offer you Red Bulls there at the local convenience store on campus, which you're able to use your dining card for. Instead, they have something like Monster, or there was this other thing called Tab, T-A-B-B or T-A-B, kind of a flamboyant can, skinny, very, very foamy drink. That sort of, the time period that I got off of Red Bull, I got into Tab, and then off of Tab, I probably have 5-hour energy. I probably had like one of those ever, and it was while I was in school. Then when I get out of school and I'm working at a corporation as a draftsman, there's a Starbucks right across the street. And my buddy, when I visit my hometown and I visit my friends that works at Starbucks, not in our hometown, he introduces me. He runs inside and he comes back out with an iced coffee, not an overnight brewed toddy, but a brewed coffee that was then put in the refrigerator to make cold and then poured over ice when you order it from Starbucks, so an iced coffee. I got hooked on iced coffee. With that iced coffee then came pastries, and wow, like that kind of put a dent in my life. Yeah. So be aware of what's up, because you're sitting there at a computer in a desk, minimal activity, for multiple hours, hundreds of hours a week or a month. Recognize how much stuff you put in your body. Got one more thing. Oh, okay, so then I jump ship from corporate world and I go back to my hometown and I continue to drink coffee. And then eventually I'm hanging out at the coffee shop so much, working on my computer on solo design projects, trying to make myself available to anyone who wants to dibble dabble. And I was also trying to, I wasn't fully focusing on doing work for other people. I was still trying to do work for myself, entrepreneur-like, inventor-like stuff. And I actually went behind the counter there at the coffee place. I jumped behind there and started working there. And that just continued my evaluation of coffee. I was able to roast coffee, which was a great experience. I was able to see the folks day by day and what it is that they think of coffee, what it is that they want, what they prefer. So it was really an awesome community experience. But coffee, they said, coffee is the legal drug by now. Or we'll split back to the other section. So just be aware. And if you can, go all natural. I've got a friend up in Montana who claims that he can go to sleep like that underneath a tree. I say, how do you do that? He says, I don't drink any caffeine. Peaceful. Take care. This is the Architects Want More series on YouTube. Adios.